Hey everyone! Welcome back to the Book Nook. I'm still here at the Museum of Everyday Objects, and today we're exploring an invention that changed the way we connect, learn, and even think. Any guesses? It's television! Do you like to watch TV? What are some of your favorite shows? I really like to kick back, relax, and watch some TV every now and then, but we're not just here to admire these TVs. We're here to figure out how authors use evidence to back up their claims when writing about inventions like this. So, what is evidence, and why is it important? Think about that, and I'll meet you inside. So when I was here visiting yesterday, I watched a really cool video all about TV and how it shaped the world. It got me thinking, how do authors actually convince us that something is important? What makes their argument strong? Well, that's what we're diving into today. Claims and evidence. Authors make claims, statements or points they want us to understand. But how do they support those claims and make them convincing? Well, they back them up with evidence, facts, examples, and expert opinions that prove their points. To dig a little deeper into this, let's watch a clip from that video I mentioned. While we're watching and listening, I want you to think about what claims the author is making. What's the point they're trying to get across? And then ask yourself, how do they prove it? What kind of evidence are they using to support their claim? Okay, here we go.
TV, the box that brought the world into our living rooms and changed it forever. How did the small screen become such a big part of our lives? Let's rewind to the 1920s. There's no Netflix, no 24-hour news channels, no video games.
Okay, right here, the author is introducing their claim, the idea that TV changed the world. But how might they support that idea and convince us that their claim is true? Let's keep watching.
TV was just an experimental idea in the 1920s, but by the late 1940s, television sets started popping up in homes. In 1948, only 1% of American households had a TV, but just 5 years later, over 50% of homes had one.
Wow, did you catch that? The author just used a numerical fact called a statistic to support the point. They gave us numbers. 1% of homes had TVs in 1948, but in just 5 years, it was over 50%. That's how they support the idea that TV was spreading fast.
In 1969, over 600 million people around the world watched Neil Armstrong take his first steps on the moon. Talk about a shared experience.
Here's another type of support, an example. The author uses the example of the moon landing to show how TV connected millions of people. It shows the impact TV had on creating shared experiences.
Television expert Robert Thompson once said, "Television has become a part of our everyday routines. It's how we get our news, how we relax, and even how we learn."
And here's another type of evidence, the expert opinion. The documentary is using a quote from Robert Thompson, a well-known TV expert. An expert's opinion makes the argument stronger and helps convince us that TV has become an important part of our daily lives, not just for entertainment, but for staying informed and learning too. Let's review. So far, the writer of this documentary has used 3 different ways to support the idea that TV changed the world. Facts and statistics, like the number of homes with TVs, examples, like the viewing of the moon landing, and expert opinions, like Robert Thompson's quote. Let's watch the rest of the video. Listen carefully and see if you can spot all 3 types of evidence yourself: a fact or statistic, an example, and an expert opinion.
Even from its early days, television quickly became a part of everyday life. In 1953, millions of Americans watched the first coast-to-coast broadcast, the inauguration of President Dwight D. Eisenhower. By the 1960s, TV was changing how people thought and acted. For example, the first televised presidential debate in 1960 between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon made people see politics differently. Media expert Marshall McLuhan said, "The way we get information can be just as important as the information itself." Once people could see and hear the candidates on TV, things like looking and sounding confident became just as important as the ideas the candidates had.
Wow, that was packed with information. All right, take a moment to pause here. Draw a box around the claim the author is making. Then underline the evidence the author used to support their claim. Look out for facts and statistics, examples, and expert opinions. How'd you do? The claim is that TV became a part of everyday life. The author backs it up with a statistic about millions of people watching President Eisenhower's inauguration to show how TV was becoming common. They also gave us a specific example, the 1960 debate between Kennedy and Nixon, to show how TV started to influence politics. And finally, they included an expert opinion from Marshall McLuhan about how the way we get information can be just as important as the information itself. See how all three types of evidence make the writer's claim stronger? Authors include evidence to support their claims because it strengthens their argument and helps readers trust the information. By including evidence, authors show that their ideas are reliable and backed by facts. Awesome job! As readers today, we learned how authors use different types of evidence, like facts, examples, and expert opinions, to support their claims. And from reading, we learned all about another amazing invention, television, which changed the way we share experiences, learn, and even see the world. That's one more item to keep in mind on our quest to find the most influential invention. All right, I'll see you next time back here at the Museum of Everyday Objects. And in the meantime, keep reading and working on your goals.
Hey.